When your stepbrother says, "We've been rough with you, princess. Are you sore?" You bite your lip and nod. He steps closer. "How about I lick it better?"
Okay, so far we have step-siblings who are probably play wrestling or something. I don't know. And somehow the poor girl hurt herself. Not sure why he'd have to lick her, though. That seems weird.
He grabs you by the waist, placing you on the edge of the desk. Pens and papers go flying.
Hold on. He places her down on the desk so hard. Does she, like, break the desk? Why would papers be flying? Is this about sex? My girlfriend recently asked me very nicely to make a video about BookTok, and more specifically, dark romance. One problem, and I'm almost afraid to ask, but what is that? Surely it's something a well-adjusted person like myself can get behind, similar to the way that stepbrother can get behind you and I'm certainly no stranger to romance novels. Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite books. I assumed that dark romance would be like regular romance, but with like ghouls and vampires. Or maybe Morticia and Gomez Addams. Turns out, I was slightly wrong. So today we're going to be entering a depraved world of fantasy. So buckle up! If you've been watching my channel for any amount of time already, thank you by the way, you already know to expect messed up stuff with practically every upload. It's becoming a fun game of how much can I make myself suffer. But if you're new here, blanket trigger warning for basically everything. There's discussion of intense violence and SA, and yeah, just keep your mental health in mind. I promise you though, your time is much better spent here than reading any of these books. I actually have a few fairly radical opinions already about BookTok, so this is not going to be your average commentary video where we make fun of something that we don't understand. Instead, we're going to be trying to understand and then making fun. If I must be traumatized, let's start with the quality of writing on this post alone. Oh, I'm so sore from all the stimulation. That's okay. Here, let me continue to stimulate you. That ought to help. I'm also kind of weirded out by the incest or adjacent content that's permeated recent pornography. I know it's been a problem for a while, but I'll be damned if I don't take the needles to Oedipus's eyes myself.
When you're having amazing hate sex with your enemy in the bathroom.
Okay, so if any of you are aware of what regular book talk is, this is basically just that, but with enemies to lovers, murderers, stalkers, CNC, mafia bosses, and loads of cheating. And also other types of loads, but we're not going to talk about that.
He's got you perched on the counter, fingers digging into your thighs as he drives into you.
Ka-chow.
And just as you're about to see stars, it all becomes too intense. You shove him away, your chest heaving as you gasp for air.
F you, you bite out. Maybe we should have never effed around. He smirks, heat glinting in his eyes as he wraps a hand around his wet cock. Pretty sure I was doing that. Oh my god.
I hate you, you whisper.
Nah. You know, that awkward moment when you and your enemy are doing the deed in a bathroom. How does that even happen? Like, if you are mortal enemies, how does this situation occur?
When you've just had unprotected sex with your fake husband, and you're panicking as he calmly watches you. What if I get pregnant? You don't even know if I'm on the pill!
You whisper, yell at him, while still feeling his cum between your thighs.
Don't tempt me with ideas, wife.
Oh yes, I love fantasizing about getting women pregnant who don't want to be. Jesus, why the hell am I looking at these? I know we're mainly here to laugh for a bit, and for those who have a humiliation kink who also watch this stuff, they might kind of get off on me laughing at them. I'm just saying. But like, seriously, I hate how much this type of stuff sensationalizes or romanticizes like crimes or assault. Like, look at this one. Hey, can I borrow that one stalker romance you keep talking about? Oh, the pages are stuck together. Ha 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 ha. It seems like innocuous horny posting at first glance. I mean, it's for a romance about a stalker, which is why it fits into the whole dark aesthetic thing I'm trying to explore in this video. But let's look at the name of the book. Haunting Adeline. Cool title. I certainly hope this book is normal.
Spoiler alert, it fucking isn't!
I know I already put a warning at the start, but one more for good measure, because this book is horrible and the rest of this video is going to be like traumatizing. So if you're uncomfortable with really messed up themes, just find a different video of mine to watch. And thank you so much for staying with me up till this point. Still here? Great. You thought this was just going to be a reaction video.
But no, I'm better than that. And I value your time and mine.
So we're going to be digging a little bit deeper into the psychology of this stuff and why people might be into it and how it could be explored in a healthy way. And also why stuff like Haunting Adeline is poor taste, hot garbage. I read it in a PDF that I obtained legally, but let's start by reading the description of this book on Goodreads. The Manipulator. I can manipulate the emotions of anyone who lets me. I will make you hurt, make you cry, make you laugh, and make you sigh. But my words don't affect him, especially not when I plead for him to leave. He's always there, watching and waiting, and I can never look away, not when I want him to come closer. Interesting. This is supposed to represent the female lead in this book named Adeline. Now, if I were to judge from the fact that we're calling her the Manipulator, I would assume that she's maybe evil, or at the very least a strong-willed lead, who against her better judgment falls in love with an unsavory character. It's a tale as old as time. She wants him to come closer. It all sounds very romantic. Anyways, this is the story of a rapist who stalks a girl and repeatedly assaults her in her own home, which is written in a quirky, I'm not like other girls fashion, with a million piss-poor references and some of the worst smut I have ever read in any book. It's not funny, it's not sexy, it's just sad and horrible. Remember though, guys, we're calling the victim the manipulator in the pitch. This book is currently on sale on Kindle for $5, down from 18, with over 100,000 reviews, the majority of which are positive. If Amazon took half the money that this thing made bare minimum on sales, the author would still be able to purchase a home entirely up front. And this is one book in an extensive bibliography filled with similar titles. H.D. Carlton is doing quite well for herself. Now this book is, objectively speaking, terrible. The writing is insanely flat and boring. The sex scenes are contrived shock fests. There's a sequence where the stalker screws the main girl with a gun. To give you an idea, this is a real line from the book. As much as I hate to say this to you, I'm no stranger to a woman's pussy and what it feels like when it weeps for me. Ugh. I feel secondhand embarrassment reading this out loud.
You're so fucking creamy. He rasps.
What does that mean? But this book is insidious on a level that goes beyond just being cringeworthy. In my opinion, it's all part of a deep-rooted problem that BookTok has with fetishizing abuse, then masquerading that as a romance novel. Also, hi, if you are someone who enjoys smut, please don't leave. I beg you. I promise I have a good point and I'm not judging you. I might be judging the author a little bit, but not you. Like, here's the story of Haunting Adeline. There's a man named Zane who has a peculiar hobby. In his spare time, he tortures pedophiles and rapists and waxes poetic about how they must burn in hell for their sins. Pretty cool bad boy vigilante who is a bit egotistical and has a savior complex. But then, one day, he meets a girl who he falls for and starts stalking, eventually being overtaken by his desires and becoming the very thing that he was fighting against. Which, again, is a rapist. That's a horror story. It's incredibly fucked up, but if it was written well, it would be interesting as a mean-spirited and a definitely not for everyone type of horror novel. But you're an idiot. Haunting isn't a horror, it's a romance. Here's a couple random statistics that I pulled out of Saul Threadman's hat. Every 68 seconds an American is sexually assaulted. 1 in every 6 women have been assaulted at some point in their life. And yet, here's a book that casually, brutally, and in disgustingly awkward detail romanticizes rape. Then on top of that is so badly written that I'm surprised anyone made it to the end at all. Seriously? Fuck this book.
No, wait, no, I didn't mean it like that. Don't fuck the book. Please don't fuck the book. Don't fuck the book. Look, that lady fucked it. Don't. No.
Haunting Adeline is one drop in a vast ocean of poorly written romance novels parading as something of substance. But it's a currently relevant example that highlights many of the more insidious or straight up evil pitfalls of the subgenre. A surprisingly common thing that Carlton does in this book is tell us that the protagonist is telling the stalker to stop and she's screaming no, and then after the fact she's left crying and in pain. But the inner monologue she's having in her head tells the reader that no, she actually really likes it. Well, not really. She starts to realize that she must like it because her body's reacting. So to recap, two major narrative points in this book are man can't control himself because the girl's just too pretty, and girl must enjoy being raped because her body reacted to it. I hope I don't need to explain to you what's wrong here, but oh wait, it gets worse. Most of the stories in this genre are aimed at the young adult audience. An example of famous YA would be The Hunger Games. Admittedly, this is a violent book series with strong political themes and romantic elements, so my criticism isn't that teenagers shouldn't be shown difficult or violent or romantic media, but more that, hey, you're basically writing pornography, and that's not the same as a YA novel. These stories are circulating through communities that are filled with people who might not even have been in a relationship yet and have no basis on which to understand that consuming this type of stuff can be harmful to your mental health. Take visual pornography, for example. Every year, millions of teenagers are exposed to extremely violent and or abusive content that was created for the purpose of gratification. And many of those individuals will go on to think that that's just how sex works, sometimes never actually bothering to learn anything beyond what they see in porn. At best, this is going to create very unrealistic expectations, and at worst, it's actively encouraging and normalizing violence. So if you and I can easily see why irresponsible X-rated movies could be very harmful, why are we then turning around and glorifying the same thing in written format? Let me be very clear, kinky shit is cool as hell, and BDSM and CNC are fairly common things that people are into, and it really doesn't matter why they're into it, it's none of our business. If you're not aware, CNC stands for consensual non-consent, which means that both parties agree to a very intense role play, which is intended to simulate that feeling of losing control or of certain power dynamics within a safe environment where all parties involved are on board and aware of how everything works. Ideally, a lot of work goes into making sure that everyone is comfortable, everyone knows each other's triggers, there are safe words involved, etc., etc. You get the idea. I guess what I'm trying to say is I've always been fascinated by kink communities. When I was probably too young to be engaging with certain things like erotica, I was on AO3. But even before that, I did a lot of research to try and figure out how people stay safe when engaging in those types of activities, just because I was a very curious person. If I hadn't have done that and had stumbled across Haunting Adeline at 14 years old, I wonder what would have been my takeaway. I'm a writer myself. I write dark, edgy stuff all the time. I've even written smut before. Not that you'd be able to find it, you pervert. If you want to read something dark that's not porn, you should check out my stories on Tumblr. But I think that as writers, we have a bit of social responsibility when it comes to what we choose to write about. There's a difference between a movie like American Psycho versus a movie like a Serbian film. And there's a reason that one played in theaters and the other is considered an exploitation film. Haunting Adeline could have been a great fucked up horror story. Or it could have been an intense romance if maybe both parties consented in a CNC type situation. It's none of that though. It's a regular romance. A personal pet peeve of mine is how these stories are never actually really stories at all. Saying that you read these like books is similar to saying that you watch pornography for the plot, or the acting, or the cinematography. Most of these books aren't even trying. It's just how edgy can we be with absolutely nothing to say, and it's all just a vehicle for the spicy bits. Brainrot is being heralded as high fiction. You are not a bookish intellectual if this is all you read.
You're a porn addict.
I will be gatekeeping. Stop grouping my Pride and Prejudice in with this degeneracy. I won't stand for it. Or sit for it. Sex scenes are cool in movies and books, and having romantic and or sexual themes and scenes doesn't make your thing porn. In my opinion, the bar is very obvious. To beat a dead horse, American Psycho is a movie with a lot to say about misogyny, masculinity, performative people, what the upper class can get away with, how money corrupts. I love that movie. A Serbian film has so much nothing to say that the director had to come out of the woodwork later to clarify some of his choices and be like, well, the whole movie's basically just an argument for freedom of speech, really. Imagine having the ability to say anything and deliberately choosing to say nothing. When you do that, it's difficult for me to respect your opinions at all. While I was researching for this video, I came across an article written by a high school newspaper called The Dispatch, which was extremely well written and researched, and also is from the perspective of those who are most affected by this stuff. teenagers. A significant amount of the most popular romance books on BookTok are filled with plots involving physical and emotional abuse. Young teenagers are being led astray by the overwhelming negative influence of BookTok and its constant promotion of romance novels that glorify misogynistic ideas, toxicity, and abusive relationships. Words like controlling and abusive don't exist in the world of BookTok. These negative concepts cover their tracks by disguising themselves as dark romance. Dark romance novels follow storylines that contain an extreme power imbalance between characters. The romance novels BookTok promotes are convincing teens that controlling and isolating behavior means your partner loves you and wants to protect you, when in reality, it's a common method abusers use to emotionally guilt their partner into staying with them. Because TikTok is such a massive platform, authors are able to promote their stories to a much larger audience than they could before, and companies like Barnes & Noble and other bookstores are recognizing this pattern on BookTok and taking advantage of it. Many bookstores now have a BookTok section that's geared towards teenagers. These sections usually contain tables with a mountain of misogynistic romance books and a cute sign that reads #BookTok recommendations on top. Companies that do this are further contributing to adolescents being influenced by the harmful behaviors that they encounter. So what we've learned is, like everything, it's all about money. If these books are selling and the authors can self-publish and make hundreds of thousands of dollars glorifying abuse, I guess that's all that matters. You know, I thought that this was going to be a fun video, making fun of people who chose the Phantom. I keep trying to make videos about the same stuff that I see other prominent commentary people making videos about. I want to have fun too. I want to laugh a little and be able to make fun of stuff. But many of these issues are so complicated that it would be a disservice and practically impossible to try to do it justice by just laughing at it, especially if we were to, say, censor every other word or call things that they aren't, or if we were to just attack people who consume this stuff without ever questioning why. I don't know, that would be a little bit weird, but who cares? What do I know, right? I mean, statistically speaking, only 7% of the people who are currently subscribed to me watch my most recent shit anyways, so you know what? That's it. I'm done. I'm done with this. Out. Goodbye. If you can't beat them, join them. Girl, you're the only one I need in my world. Come with me and you will see that my days are spent in lovely painted dreams that always seem to lead right back to you. You're the light of my life and the apple of my eye. You don't know me, but you will in due time. I love how you walk, how you talk, how you dress, and without you my heart is full of emptiness. And I just need you to see that for you I would do anything, oh, for you. I would be anyone over again. I'll promise to be true. My girl, I see everything you do. Don't be alarmed, I swear it's not too soon. See, I already know everything about you. Dear, I swoon at your reflection I see from down here under your bed, desperate for your attention. Have I ever told you that I love the way that you sigh, trying not to cry while watching The Notebook? Well, I'd kill myself too if that's what it takes to get into your life. By God, I will show you. Leave your back door open, there's no need to lock it. Your clothes smell so nice from inside of your closet. I just need you to see that for you I would do anything, oh, for you. I would be anyone over again. I'll promise to be true. My girl, I see everything you do. Don't be alarmed, I swear it's not too soon. See, I already know everything about you. Yeah, I already know everything about you. I already know everything about you.
watching Psycho. I've watched you shower like 1,000 times. And I had no idea you were into that sort of thing. But now I've made up my mind. I'll be your man. Shadows aren't what they seem. My knife in hand in your lively painted dream. We'll be together, no one can hear you scream. We'll live forever in your lively painted dream. Over again, I'll promise to be true. My girl, I see everything you do. Don't be alarmed, I swear it's not too soon. I already know everything about you. Yeah, I already know everything about you. I already know everything about you.
We should probably play that song on my phone.
Okay.
Baby, my body constantly betrays me. I try to betray it. I only hurt myself.